Assalamu alaikum grade 9s. I hope you guys understood yesterday's work and that you completed yesterday's activity. If there's anything that you didn't understand, please message me and I will help you. For today, you are going to rule off, write today's date, your heading is whole numbers, and your subheading is multiples and factors. Right, this is revision work that you guys should be familiar with, so I'm just going to go through it with you. After you write your subheading multiples and factors, you are going to complete this set of keywords here. When you are done with that, you are going to write down this example, then this example, and you are going to complete exercise 1.3, and yeah, that is all the work that you will have for today. All right, now I'm going to begin with my explanation. We find the factors of a whole number by finding all the numbers that divide exactly into the original number. A number is divisible by another number after dividing, if after dividing there is no remainder. Right, so when we look at factors of a number, for example, the number 12, okay, if we want factors of this number, we will have to think of all of the numbers that we times by each other to get 12. So we can times 1 times 12, times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. So all of these numbers can go into 12 exactly without leaving a remainder. Okay, 1 can go into 12 12 times, 2 can go into 12 6 times, 6 can go into 12 2 times. You guys get what I mean, okay? Now, these numbers here are the factors, and we say that 12 is divisible by these numbers, okay? If we say, is 12 divisible by 2? Yes, because 2 can go into 12 exactly without leaving a remainder, okay? All numbers may be written as a product of their prime factors. You can use a factor tree to write a number as a product of its prime factors. So let's look at a simple example before going through this. We'll use the same number, 12, okay? Now we are going to write 12 as a product of its prime factors. So the first step is to write down the number. Then you will say, you will divide it by 2. If it is not divisible by 2, you will then move on to 3. If it is not divisible by 3, then 5, okay? But in this case, 12 is divisible by 2. So we say 12 divided by 2, and that is going to give us 6. Now, you should know already what a prime number is. A prime number is a number where only 1 can go into it, and the number itself, okay, can go into it. So for example, if you look at 2, if we have the number 2, only 1 times 2 will give us 2. No other number can go into 2. The same thing goes for 5. 5 is a prime factor because only 1 and 5 can go into 5. No other number can go into 5. Another prime factor is 11. Only 1 times 11 will give us 11. So this number 11 is only divisible by 1 and 11, right? 12 is not a prime factor. It is a composite number because it has more than 2 factors besides 1 and itself, right? Because all of these numbers here can go into 12. So it is not a prime factor. It is a composite number. And this is things that you should know already, okay? Now, 2 cannot be further simplified because it is a prime factor, a prime number. Therefore, we look at 6. Now, 6 can be further simplified, and we do this by dividing it by 2. Remember, if the number is not divisible by 2, we move on to 3. But in this case, 6 is divisible by 2, so we say 6 divided by 2, and we get 3. Okay, so this is my factor tree, okay? And I have prime factorized number 12. So if we say 2 times 2 times 3, we should get 12. We can also write this as 2 to the power 2, right, times 3. It's going to give us 12, okay? Right, let's look at a more complicated example. Write 32 as a product of its prime factors. So here we have 32. Okay, we can either simply we can say 2 times 16, or we can say 4 times 8. Okay, we'll get the same answer. I'll show you. Right, so here we say 4 times 8. 4 can be simplified by saying 2 times 2. 8 is 2 times 4. This 4 can therefore be simplified into 2 times 2. Here are our prime numbers. So if we want to get 32, we will say 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Or simply 2 to the power 5. Okay, we can do it another way. For example, 32, right, 2 times 16. We can further divide 16. 2 times 8. Can further divide 8. 2 times 4. Further divide 4 into 2 times 2. So here we have 5 2's. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is going to give us 32. Okay, this is a longer way, so you can do it like this if you like. Okay, here's 60 done for you. 3 times 20. 3 is a prime factor. It cannot be further simplified. 20, however, can be. We say 4 times 5 will give us 20. 5 is a prime factor. It can no longer be simplified. So we move on to 4. 4 can be simplified by saying 2 times 2. So if we say 2 to the power 2 times 3 times 5, we will get 60. Alright, moving on to our HCF and our LCM. You must know that our HCF is our highest common factor. So if we look for our highest common factor between two numbers, you can do it the long way. Right? So for example, if I say, what is the highest common factor of 10 and 12? So we will write down the factors of these numbers, right? Numbers that can go into 10. 1, 2, 5, 10. Right? And numbers that can go into 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Now the highest number here will be 2. You understand? It is the highest number. Okay? Right. The lowest common multiple, remember a multiple of a number is basically like when you count like your timetables. So we can say, what is the lowest common multiple of the lowest common multiple of 3 and 4. So I will put down all of the multiples of that number. So here, our multiples for 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. Let's write down the multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. Right, we are looking for the LCM, the lowest common multiple. So we see from the lowest numbers, what do we see in common? We see 12 is the lowest number that we have in common. If you look above, you'll see that we also have 24, but that's not the lowest. So 12 is going to be our answer, right? Some shortcuts for finding the HCF and LCM I'll show you now. A multiple is a product of two natural numbers. The multiples of any number are simply the timetables for that number. For example, the multiples of 12 are 12, 24, 36, 48. You can find the lowest common multiple of two or more numbers. Write each number as a product of its prime factors. The LCM must contain all the factors from each number without duplication. Any common factors are used only once. So here, if you want to find the HCF and LCM for 32 using prime factors, you will write down right, here's 32 and 60. So the highest common factor of 32 and 60, you are going to say 2 times 2. okay, in order to get. So whatever is common, in both of them we see 2 and 2. Whichever is common between the two, we just times it together, right? And we will get 4. That is the highest common factor between the two numbers, okay? In order to get the LCM, right, of 32 and 60, we will use the 2's from the 32 and the 3 and 5 from the 60. Because we already have the 2's in the 32, we don't use the 2's in the 60. So we say 2 to the power 5 times 3 times 5, which is 480 to get the LCM. Remember that you cannot repeat a number, okay? Because we are using the 2's from here, we will use the 3 and 5 from here, okay? Right, you are going to complete this exercise. If you have any questions, just message me and I will help you. Assalamu alaikum learners.